Hey crafters, welcome to the craft. Today I'm going to show you some really super easy huts to make. Now this is kind of a tie-in to my Untitled project. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out. And today we're going to do part 1, which is assembling the huts, and then part 2 we will paint them. So let's go to the table and I'll show you how I make these super easy huts. Now here's what I'm going to use for my base material. It's these seating pots, okay? And there's 10 in here, and I got this for $1, so this is great. So I can make 10 huts out of this pack. And I really like the texture on these pots too, so this will be great for the project. Now I need to make the door, so my doors are usually an inch wide and a half an inch, or an inch and a half tall. So I'm going to put some marks on the piece and then kind of draw a door on there. And I'll just cut it out with my small scissors, and that'll be the portal to the hut. All right. Now I want to add some detail to the door. I'm going to use some toothpicks that are flat on the edges. There's different kinds you can get. So I just want to take a little bit off the end. I'm going to cut a half an inch off, and that's where I'm going to put these toothpicks on the edge of the door to give it detail. So I just used white glue. Now I'm going to cut some half an inch pieces off the other toothpicks, and I'm going to use that for detail too. So I'm going to put them at the top of the door, and that'll just give a neat little detail, and you'll see how good that looks when we paint it up. All right, I'll just remove some of the extra glue there, and there we go, all set. Now I want to make a roof. Okay, so I've got a piece of thin cardstock, and I'm going to use this tape roll and cut out the circle. Okay. Now here's a neat trick. You can find the center of the circle. That was just a DVD cover. So I'm going to bend it and then put some glue on it, and that'll give it my kind of conical shape. Now I'm going to cut some nicks out of the edge, and that'll make it look like a grass roof. Okay, now I'll start using my glue gun, cover up the fold there, and I'll just start working detail on the roof there. I'm using my small glue gun because I want it to look like grass on the roof. Okay, now I've finished up. I've filled it all in, and be careful not to cover up those nicks because you want those to show through. So I'll just fill that in, and it's good to go. Look at that great texture on there, and it strengthens the roof also. Now this is all dry, it looks really good, but I want to kind of strengthen up this pot. Okay, it's just basically paper, so I'm going to paint this white glue on there. I'm just wetting it down with my wet brush. I'm just putting white glue on with a wet brush, and that helps spread it out so it's not so viscous. It's going to cover the whole thing, and I'll just let it dry. Now I want to do the base. Okay, this is going to be a 2.5D hut, but I'm going to use one of my other huts, or my other pots I should say, and measure around the base of it. And I'm going to cut them out, and these are what I'm going to use for the basis of my 2.5D. Now this is really thin cardboard. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure an inch along the edge, and I'll just fill that in. And you can see that's where the doorway will be. Okay, and this will be important, you'll see in a sec. Okay, so I'm going to measure where those 2 inch marks were, and I'm going to cut across because I want the door, that to be where the door is. Okay, so you've got the door and then the outer hut. Alright, so now how I'm going to do the 2.5D is I'm going to do it a little different than I usually do. I don't want it very high, so I'm going to use the glue gun and rim this piece of thin cardboard to get my 2.5D. Okay, so let's go around. And this will be a nice way to simulate that 2.5D without making it really tall like we normally would, because this hut's, pretty small. Now I'm going to take my roof here, and I have a punch tool, and I want to poke through the bottom of the roof, right in the center there, and just push it right through. Okay, watch your fingers, and there we go. Now it does tend to push it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tool and push it back through, and I'll kind of push the cardboard back into the hole there. Okay, I'll just push it a little bit, and there we go. It's ready for the next step. Alright, so here's my guys all dry. Now I'm going to put the roof on. Just put some hot glue, stick that on there, and wow, look how good that looks already. Just out of these cheap pots. Okay, now I want to reinforce it some more, so I'm going to do the same thing, put some white glue on the outside, and then just paint in the inside with a wet brush. And this is just going to help reinforce this. You don't really have to do this, but I like to. Just gives it more strength. There we go. We'll let that dry up. And I want to make the door, so I'm going to use some more of this thin cardboard, okay? But I want it to be kind of like a curtain type doorway. I don't want it to be actually like a opening kind of doorway. So I'm going to cut a piece that, you know, looks like it'll fit. It doesn't have to be exact. And then, yep, sure enough. So now what I need to do is just glue it in with the glue gun, and I'll just put it into place. And I'll glue those edges inside so it doesn't come loose. Okay. And now what I'm going to do with the glue gun is I'm going to go around and start doing kind of like a curtain-like texture. It's going to be like a skin or a curtain covering the entrance of the hut. And I want to do that texture on there with the glue gun. So I just use my small glue gun. And there we go. Looking good. Alright, one last detail is I'm going to take some regular toothpicks, round toothpicks, and cut them in half. Okay. And I'm going to use these on the top with a little bit of glue and position them so they're kind of pointing outward from each other. And that'll give a nice little extra detail of the hut. And now we're ready for the painting phase. I'll see you next time. Hey crafters, I hope you found this vid helpful and informative. Make sure to check out part 2 also. And if you like this type of crafting, make sure to check out my forum and Facebook page. We have a lot of great crafters on here who give advice and tips. And also make sure to share these videos with your friends. I have tons of videos to share, so make sure you do that. Also, give old Scotty a like if you did like the video. And last but not least, go forth and craft.
Ah, nice little hut. Finally, Roger can have a little respite. Huh? What? What's that noise? Uh-oh. Maybe I better flee. Oh!